Julius Amponsah Dadzie is my name, a petrochemical engineer and chairman of Holy Cities Club.
So tell us about the history of the club.
Okay, so Holy Cities started almost about 55 years ago. That was 1968, whereby a group of masqueraders decided to move away from what they used to have. Apparently because of a certain aspect of bad deeds in the old group that they used to. So they just moved away, and that they coined the word holy just to make sure whatever they are now moving on to would be different from what they used to have. So the name came about, Holy Cities, and our members are just being referred to as now as Holy Citizens.
Okay. What is the vision of the club?
Okay, the vision of the club for a long while has been to redefine a new masquerading culture. If you are talking about redefined masquerading culture, it's not only about the process whereby we are changing it, but it has been that whatever bad aspect people have about masquerading, you know, when you talk about masquerading, people make it synonymous with drinking, recalcitrant, bad people, all the bad devices or menace that you can ever think of in our society. But now we've redefined it such a way that almost everyone who is now a member has something good that they hold up to. All the professions you can just think about now are all masqueraders. You can find every profession, even pastors, imams and everything, engineers, doctors, they are all masqueraders now.
I see. How long have you been in existence?
So just as I said, Holy City started in 1968, and 2023, February 2023, would have been our 55 years in existence.
Well, that's a very long time.
Exactly.
Okay. So talking about the time you came into being, if we are talking about your challenges so far, I know you inherited it from some founders. Some people have been there before. So what has been the real challenges you've been facing probably back then and then that of today?
All right, so Holy Cities is the second oldest club in the whole of Western region. And apparently now we are the oldest active club. If I use the word active because there are challenges in masquerading. There are very huge challenges because the amount of money involved to run a masquerading group is really on the high. Just take for instance the attires that we need to sew, the colors we need to use. Now even the cost of a bundle of a material is so on the high. And looking at sewing for a group of about 1,000 members, you can just think about it. Then now from that, you need to go into contract with those people who are going to sew your attire. But at first, all these people, those who sew the attire, the band and everything was part of the group. Now, because of monetizing masquerading, those who sew have now formed their group. The band has also formed their group. So now you have to go on a contract basis with them. So the challenges now most of the masquerading groups are facing has to do with the band and the tailors. The band being that now band charge on daily basis, whereby now bands will be charging you for a day almost about 10,000 Ghana cedis. And you can imagine, within the festive season, you have to go for an outing almost about 6. So if they are charging you 10,000, all your 6 outing will be about 60,000. So basically, these are the challenges you are facing. And now, due to social media influence and modernization, even though it has helped us to get new members, whereby now we have all variety of people involved, but we still need to get to older people as well, because now they feel the old system whereby every month or something you have to meet and have meeting as masquerading group. Now you don't have that. So our members will only come on board whenever it's up to festive season, and after that they just vanish into the thin air.
Okay, so now what we are seeing is, I don't want to call it a spillover, but in terms of growth path, I realize that some of the clubs are now extending to Central Region, some go to as far as Takwa, and then even more. With regards to Holy City, what has been the growth path?
Okay. So we are the show masters. We show them the way and they followed. So when you talk about Holy Cities, almost every area, so we talk about every vicinity in Takrade, we are there. Now let's stretch it out. So when you go to Bogoso, when you go to Takwa, you have a branch there. When you go to Commander, you have a branch there. When you go to Dabuasi, you have a branch there. When you go to Cape Coast, you have a branch there. And even in Tema, now you know most of the masqueraders now are moving along our stretch. We are already in Tema, and now moving how best you can move to outside our borders. So now our main target now is just to hit into Côte d'Ivoire. So we are.
Oh,
really
you want to go to Cote
international.
d'Ivoire?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I see. Is it an NGO, a registered company? If it's a company, are we talking about partnership? What is it?
Okay, so most masquerading groups started like coming together of young men or everything for us to have fun. Because when you just think about how much you're going to spend during this festive season, you just look at it, why don't you come together as a group? Then for us to, instead of spending much during festive season, let's just go out for this our outings for us to have fun. But registering it as a profit-making company, no. Because whatever we just do is just to bring people together. So it's just like a society. We are registered, though, at the Registrar General as an NGO. Because we just don't do it now for profit-making. Because honestly, after all your outings, you might end up like making a loss because of the cost and everything involved.
How is the club supporting society?
Okay, so for us, we redefining the masquerading culture. We've just putting it up upon ourselves to have this corporate social responsibility. So not only because it's our anniversary year, that's why we are doing this thing, but in as much as possible, previous years, we have just been doing this cleanup exercises. And last year, we just went about going to hospitals to help them clean up their places, because when it's getting to festive season, as well as some older members of ours who most of their siblings have traveled outside, we just help them out. But this year, we've taken it upon ourselves to be painting zebra crossings. So when you just take on the Takrade stretch and from that Jep roundabout to on it, most of the zebra crossings over there, we've taken it upon ourselves that within intervals, we will have to be painting it to make sure it becomes visible, because that's one of the busiest stretch we have here in Takrade.
With this year's event, what are the expectations?
Okay, this year is going to really be massive because we're just coming back from COVID-19. And you know that after COVID, there had just been a setback, some restrictions, whereby last 2 years, there wasn't any outing. Then last year we got back, but when we got back, you just have to use our old attire. So this year, people are rather coming in with some new attire. And now things have really modernized in such a way that everyone wants to hit up on the social media. Everyone wants to be frenzy. Everyone wants to make sure we be catchy. And because everyone wants to make sure after our outing, we have better sponsorship, we have better events to attend to, because now masquerading has just become a one-off event, whereby December, January, then it's done. Whereby you have to wait till the following year, December before. But now we want to make it so active that in between the festive seasons, there are other activities you can undertake. So right now, most of our bands have just been having this Friday night program. So for example, our band, Authentic Brass Music, we just get them gigs whereby they play on Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays at people's events, your wedding, your funeral, or even at pubs, and even certain radio stations sometimes call us to their studio for us to play over maybe it's an hour or two, then whereby we make some money out of it. And again as well, we just play it and we just record it and monetize it on social media, just as YouTube or Twitter things, to make money for the group.
We know you'll be parading through the principal street of Sekondi Takrade. There are issues of vehicle, traffic, and the likes. How are we planning for safety? Safety for the women, safety for the children, and then safety in general?
So every outing, just as any other company does, we just have our SOP that we follow. There are standard operating procedures. And what are these procedures we follow? We make sure we just draw up our protocols we are going to use. So we form up groups, whereby we have those who are in charge of the routes you are going to take, those who are in charge of security, and those who are in charge of the children. So in every outing, we have branch leaders. Just as you asked me at a point, how best have we been able to extend our tentacles? So we have branch leaders who mobilize all these members we have. So every branch leader has a list of all the children that they have, or all the kids, and there's certain age limits that they have, especially those in the primary school. So in every outing, normally maybe for an hour, when we play our band along the stretch, there are people who are on their reflectors, depending on the time of the day that we are outing, and make sure that they guard the road for us. Again, the police is also informed about it, that okay, this year the outings is going to be 6 or 7 for most of the groups. Then during that time, police are able to announce, and radio stations are announced that okay, on this particular stretch is going to be blocked and going to be used by Masqueraders. So our security system, our protocols are so much adhered to that we've never had any incident of accident for our 55 years.
Do you have a first aid?
Yes, we do have a first aid. So that's where our Holy Queens come in here. My beautiful lady standing beside me.
Okay.
They are called the Holy Queens.
Okay.
So in holy cities, we have a group of ladies called Holy Queens.
Okay.
Every lady is ushered to be a Holy Queen. And what do the Holy Queens do for us? They make sure they take care of us. They take care of us. Whereby when you are going for our outings, they have our first aid kit. They also have the small chops, our drinks and waters for our kids especially. For the older ones, we also have, whenever we break our band, we just sit down and have our drink and sip and have this social conversation, whatever it has to do with job, your profession and everything. You find every aspect of life in it.
Have you received any support from either the tourism ministry, any government agency? Has there been any support?
Okay, so if I would say there have never been any support, that would be a lie. Every year there are supports coming in, but just as Oliver Twist, we always ask for more.
What kind of support are you talking about?
Okay, so this year, the regional minister, who is a member of Holy Cities, Honorable Kobiachidako, gave almost every masquerading club a sewing machine. You know, before we have to sew our attire, we need a machine. And he helped us out by getting us a modernized sewing machine to help us out. Sometimes some of these MPs, most of the MPs we have in our jurisdiction, especially Honorable Achidako and Joseph Kujo, they help us by giving us a cash donation. Sometimes just for us to use it as a seed money to start our sewing. But notwithstanding, we wish for more. And again, aside the tourism industry or the tourism ministry hasn't necessarily come to our aid. But because the regional minister is in government as well as some of the MPs, we don't want to downplay their support they are giving us. But notwithstanding, we are calling on the tourism ministry that masquerading here in Sekende Takoradi has now been a source of income. We've talked about the year of return past years, and we can all attest to the fact that when we're having the year of returns, when people came to Accra for this Afrochella and all those things, the partying and everything, some of them still came to Takoradi to come and enjoy our masquerading on the 25th, on the 26th, or the 1st of January. We know that they've supported Winneba masquerading for 1st January, and we're also calling on them that the 25th, the 26th, if they come in, there's a bigger opportunities here because people really move down all the way from all the countries. You can just make mention of them. When it is Christmas, most of the hotels here in Sekende Takoradi are booked by foreigners. Or when you move out to people are perching here and there just for them to have a feel of this masquerading. So we're just calling on them that they should just come to our aid. The aid that they'll be asking, how best can they help us? Yes, after we have been able to go for our outings, we do some video recordings here and there. We just ask that sometimes in some of their advertisements for this aftermath of the year of return or the beyond of return, they should sometimes be putting some of our videos in it. It's not necessarily about money, but sometimes you are looking up about mileage. And sometimes they should just come down as well, just as Beach FM is doing for us today, bringing us to their studios, allowing us to get our mileage. The same way they have the bigger platform. So that because most of the groups, notwithstanding for us as Holy Cities, we have an extension from international companies that want to help it. But before we go on, we just need those government agencies to just help out with going about these things, because you can't just go in as a group, just being an NGO to just get this international funding.
For some time, we've seen the organization of the Masqueraders by some institutions and all that. Are you satisfied with how it's been organized?
Okay, so it should be a win-win situation.
Okay.
When I talk about a win-win situation, yes, I know that most of these media outlets or companies or something going for sponsorship. And now money is so hard to come by. It's very understandable. So after these outings or events, we end up giving us souvenirs. You end up giving us some goodies. But sometimes we also asking that just after the event, how best do you attend to us? There are several event organization companies that they are still owing masquerading groups. We've organized events for them, we've played music for them and everything. But at the long run, it's just nothing.
Who are they?
I wish not to do this. You know, that's what I'm saying. It's a win-win situation.
Okay.
When you ask them what they are telling you that, oh, the money didn't come. But when you do your underground checks, you realize that maybe they had some money, but because of the cost involved, just be open to us. Just let us understand. that this is what, be transparent to us, this is what happened. Because they feel like they are helping us because we want to attend programs, events and everything. But with the new system of masquerading we have now, people will just take their band, play for almost about 5 hours to 6 hours without even not bothering about going to an event. And when we choose to boycott your event, why are you just going to make it fun? Because when you are coming out for our outings, most of these families come around, come and stand by the roadside, watch your event. All those vendors you've taken money from, these people will be buying from them. But what do we get in return? You just give us a certificate and just tell us thank you. So we are asking that the media outlets should be doing more for us.
I see. What will you now share with members, prospective members, and then the whole of Ghana? Okay, so in the beginning of this whole conversation, I just told you masquerading has just always been affiliated with miscreants, bad people. To use the word, what's it? Ankos be a kobolo. But for example, myself sitting here, I'm not a kobolo, and I've just run through the ranks just to be here. And when we were kids, masquerading taught us something that they've not made mention of it much. The word came about one. I want it was one. You would have been able to pay your amount of money, like do your savings to pay your amount of money. But when they realize that you have been of a bad behavior in the house, you are academically poor, everything, they will tell you this year, what or what I did, one. And again, it inculcated in us the habit of saving. How do you talk about saving? You are going to school, they give you about 5 cedis. You know that this year you want to attend holy cities. So what do? When you go to school, you spend 4 cedis and you save 50 pesos. Each and every day, you give this 50 pesos to your mom. Your mom will save it, and when it's December, your mom just take it to your branch leader and pays for you. What does it imbue in us? Imbues in us the level of savings. So most of us, we just grew up just having this conception about savings. But now, people always thought about it that masqueraders, you just go around, come to your house, beg for money, beg for food. No. Just look at this situation. I paid 300 cedis or 350 for my attire. How would I come and beg for 2 cedis from you? No. Because my dignity is at stake. Because now, every masquerading group, especially holy cities, we cut across every aspect of life. We have the aged, we have the old, we have professionals amongst us, we have students. And why would someone just come out to just come and disgrace himself? So come to holy cities. We are the oldest active club in Sekendita Takrade. This is our anniversary year. There's more goodies. We've already been having our fun. We've had our luncheon as choice mat. We have sponsorship from Casapreco, who has given us non-alcoholic drink, because as a masquerading group, we are not really promoting that. So anytime they come in, they help us promote all their non-alcoholic drink. The same way I just promoting that masquerading now is not about drinking. If you think about the amount of money you are going to spend in December, just come join Holy Cities. We are giving you an attire at a cheaper price compared to all the groups you have here in Takrade. Our band is the best. Authentic brass music, they are the best so far. They are new young chaps just as us. They are willing to do better than they were before. Okay. So definitely come join us. Let's get your social media handles and then let's end
Okay, so at Twitter, we are at HC Masqueraders. HC standing for Holy Cities. So because of Twitter, we use HC Masqueraders. And on Facebook, we are using Holy Cities Masqueraders. And we have Holy Cities Amanfo. We have the Holy Queens too as well. So all are invited to join Holy Cities.
All right, thank you.